Out in the field, Kaidono excitedly announced that the wheat they planted had sprouted. Passing by, the main character suggested making bread after the harvest, eagerly looking forward to it. Upon arrival, the protagonist was warmly greeted. One companion called out, "My lord," logically, while another playfully noted their slight lateness. They were welcome to take the best seat, reserved for their king, surrounded by the group. Amidst the gathering, Abyss approached her master, presenting a dish she had prepared using his teachings. She shyly requested him to eat it, offering the fruits of her learning. Abyss eagerly awaited the verdict as her master took a bite. He was stunned, exclaiming he hadn't thought it possible for the dish to be so delicious, attributing the success partly to their castle. Overjoyed and relieved, Abyss celebrated her achievement. They admired a new building, recalling the island was untouched just 3 months prior. While not quite a castle, it showed remarkable progress. It's revealed this world began like a simulation game the protagonist played in a past life, with the settlement mirroring the game's interface. Recalling his previous life, the protagonist remembers being born sickly and passing away young in a hospital bed before turning 20. He reflected on being a burden to his parents. Always sick, he had few friends, finding solace only in the garden game to create his dream place. At death's door, the boy smiles, grateful to see his parents one last time. His previous life ended filled with regrets, though he blamed no one. His dying wish was for a second chance, leading him to now his wish granted. Consciousness returned, marked by the twitch of a small hand in this new beginning. Reborn into this new world, he found himself alone, an abandoned baby, lying on cold stone beside a canal beneath multiple moons. Awake and aware, with memories of his past life, he wondered where he was. Knowing it wasn't the familiar hospital, trapped in an infant's body but with an adult's mind, he struggled, outraged at being abandoned in such a place. The horrifying realization struck him. Despite his mature mind, he was physically just a helpless toddler. As footsteps neared, he braced for the worst. The approaching figure noticed him, grimly observing, "This baby too." A mysterious figure approaches and speaks in an unknown language, leaving the child confused. However, the stranger who found him had a kind face. The young man gently picked up the abandoned baby, rescuing him. Placed beside another infant under the rescuer's watch, the truth hit him fully. He wasn't wrong. He was truly reborn. Now safe, his priority became clear. First, he needed to learn everything about this new world. As time passed, now a young child, he immersed himself in study, determinedly learning the ways and language of this world. 2 years later, adopted and named Kai and Rukia by their rescuer, Kai studied his surroundings, slowly coming to a realization. The realization dawned. This was indeed a different world where magic existed, and possibly even gods. While Kai pondered serious matters like gods, Rukia appeared more focused on having fun, playfully plotting to tell on their adoptive father. Through study, he learned their adoptive father was a priest, and that this world was believed to be created by a god named Farley. He discovered 13 other gods besides Farley. Certain children received divine blessings, marked by a chest seal, granting special abilities activated by invoking a god's name. Rukia excitedly asked if getting the seal meant becoming powerful like their father, but Kai noted the seal only manifests upon coming of age. Further reading revealed one wouldn't know if they were blessed until a temple ordinance at age 12, and that many gods' names remained secret. He accidentally discovered a restricted book meant only for the high priest, finding inside it one of the secret, unpublished names of a god. While bathing together, the boy sighs with frustration, wishing he could at least use magic. He remembered crying upon learning he couldn't use magic in this world. Rukia had comforted him then. Now, he playfully returned the supportive gesture. Ru excitedly offers to wash her brother, catching him off guard as he tries to stop her. Suddenly, Kai burst out frantically, shouting to their father that the anticipated holy seal had finally appeared on Rukia's chest. Confused, the boy looks down at his chest after someone points it out, unsure of what they mean. Kai erupted in celebration, overjoyed that Rukia truly possessed the holy seal, while she calmly confirmed the fact to their pleased father. Their father, emotional and happy, pulled them into a tight embrace, congratulating Rukia on receiving the blessing. Calling them his miracle, their proud father thanked God. He then subtly questioned Kai about entering the study, hinting at the forbidden book. Kai, a 10-year-old boy, tries calling out names but grows frustrated as nothing responds, no matter how often he repeats them. Kai pondered the secret god names he'd found. With the study now locked, he wondered if his own blessing, if he had one, was tied to one of the still unknown gods, perhaps only revealed at the temple ceremony. Although he trained diligently every day, the uncertainty surrounding his own potential blessing left Kai feeling increasingly anxious. Rukia found Kai and asked if he was training again. Seeing her, Kai suddenly had an idea, realizing she hadn't yet tried invoking her blessing. Kai tempted Rukia, asking if she wasn't curious about her blessing's origin. Although she eagerly agreed, she remembered their father said it was secret until the ceremony. Forming a plan, Kai decided to have Rukia invoke the secret god name he discovered, preparing her for the attempt. Success. Rukia excitedly announced she'd heard a voice, identifying it as the One. Kai observed, slightly uncertain, wondering if this truly confirmed her blessing. Kai recognized the voice belonged to Idea, god of truth, a major deity. He realized with relief that Rukia connected to her without needing the forbidden name he'd found. Now Kai asked if Rukia could use her new abilities, specifically if her connection to the god of truth could reveal the name of his own god. He urged her to try. Concentrating, Rukia activated her blessing, focusing the power of the eyes of truth granted by Idea onto Kai. Her power successful, Rukia excitedly reported she could see it, revealing the name of the god who had blessed Kai, Alamira. Praising Rukia's success, Kai noted, Alamira wasn't the secret name he'd found. Intrigued, he began questioning her about the extent of her Eyes of Truth ability. Rukia clarified she could only perceive the god's name, nothing more. Kai breathed an internal sigh of relief. His secrets about his past life remained safe. Knowing his god's name, Alamira, Kai felt closer to truly becoming a blessed person. He reflected on Rukia's useful, yet thankfully limited, truth-seeing ability, which had kept his own secrets safe. Kai reflected on their path. Becoming blessed persons meant apprenticing at the temple, a chance he felt to be the good son he couldn't be before, and repay their father for saving them. Filled with determination, Kai activates the mysterious power granted by Alamira, ready to begin his journey. Kai discovered the true nature of his blessing from Alamira, Tenohira Village, a miniature world literally in his palm. This personal ability felt beyond fantasy, echoing the game of his past. Inspecting his new village, Kai was stunned to see instructions displayed in Japanese, exactly like the game. It outlined the village status and his first objective: achieve the first harvest. He smiled, recognizing this tangible village as the mini Garden of Dream from his past life. Understanding the game-like level-up system, Kai felt peace and renewed purpose. His path forward clear, Kai stood determined within his manifested village. Arms raised, he declared his intention. Let's start cultivating alone. Here I go. Shifting scenes, Kai was seen out shopping in town, politely greeting a market vendor as he went about his errands. Back from his shopping trip, Kai returned to his personal space, declaring Tenohira Village, likely ready to use his purchases. Kai proudly holds up a new hoe, having spent most of his savings on it as an investment for his first harvest and the road to leveling up. Beginning to cultivate his Tenohira Village, a gift from Alamira, Kai found the work surprisingly easy. He relished the freedom to develop his own world however he desired. While working the land, Kai realized he'd forgotten seeds. He also reflected on how blessings awaken with a mysterious voice, truly a gift of divine grace or skill. He learned how exiting Tenohira Village worked. Stepping beyond the village fence instantly returned him to the real-world location where he had activated the ability. While his village field yielded some results, Kai knew it wasn't sufficient. He recognized the nearby forest held potential, offering materials ripe for collecting. Planning the village's expansion, Kai assessed the necessary resources: fertile soil, wild plants for foraging, stone from the nearby quarry, and wood requiring him to plant saplings. Absorbed in customizing his village, Kai tended his flourishing garden. He noted with satisfaction that his blessing accelerated plant growth significantly, speeding up the farming process. Kai worried he could bring materials into his village, but not people. Just then, Rukia appeared beside him, somehow able to enter Tenohira Village, using a phrase like open sesame. Relieved, Kai realized he wouldn't be developing it entirely alone. He soon discovered another rule. Time within Tenohira Village was limited daily. Stay too long, and he'd be forcefully ejected back to reality, even mid-task. Continuing his farming efforts over several days, Kai noticed a significant change. The trees he'd planted within the village had grown tall enough to extend beyond its fence line. Seeing the trees grow beyond the boundary, Kai wondered if the village's influence was actually spreading into the outside world. Contemplating the implications, disaster struck without warning. Kai discovered his fields utterly ruined, the crops mysteriously withered. Kneeling in shock, he couldn't comprehend what had caused this total destruction. Investigating the disaster, Kai checked the soil, wondering if it or the fertilizers were the cause. He quickly dismissed this, sensing the sudden devastation likely had a different origin. Looking up at the relentlessly clear sky, Kai reached a devastating realization about the crop failure. This world had no clouds and therefore no rain. Facing the problem of the rainless world, Kai pondered how to solve it. His determination grew. If rain wouldn't fall naturally, he resolved to find a way to make it himself. Putting his plan into action, Kai performed a seemingly rudimentary ritual involving heat or steam, attempting to conjure water. He then examined a small glowing droplet, the first sign of his efforts. Kai attempts to summon rain by burning wild grass, thinking, "Smoke of wildfire will invoke rain." Although unsure of the science behind it, he concludes, "This is all I can think of." In this silent sequence, Kai looks up hopefully, stretches out his arms and hand toward the sky, and gazes upward with anticipation. Success. Kai rejoiced, standing triumphantly as a heavy rain, conjured through his own efforts, finally poured down upon his village. Soaked and utterly exhausted from the effort of making it rain, Kai slumped wearily in the doorway, greeted by a cheerful Rukia holding a towel. While recovering, Kai confirmed to Rukia that the lack of rain was no longer a problem. His mind already raced ahead, realizing that if he could make rain, he could also dig ditches and create rivers, expanding the village's potential even further. After one full year dedicated to cultivating his farm within Tenohira village, Kai smiled, seeing the successful results of his persistent labor and ingenuity. With a surge of effort, Kai achieved the objective set when he first received his blessing, the first harvest, successfully pulling giant vegetables from the earth. Upon completing the harvest, Kai was met with system notifications. The first harvest fulfilled, Tenohira village increased to level 1, and his cultivation rank became reclaimed land. Leveling up brought tangible results. Kai watched amazed as the village fence visibly expanded further outwards. Simultaneously, he heard the mysterious divine voice in his head once more, confirming the blessing's growth. Checking the newly updated village signpost, Kai celebrated the level up. The next objective was now displayed. Achieve a total population of 10 people within Tenohira village. Taking a break, Kai grilled some potatoes from his harvest, the aroma drawing appreciation. While pondering the challenging next goal of attracting villagers, he decided to first savor the taste of his success. As Kai paused, he was approached by an elf girl with a haughty air who offered him some food, seemingly catching him by surprise. Kai, who are you? Where did you come from? Girl, delicious. I've never tasted something this good. Sharing food by the fire, the elf girl introduced herself as Enel. She revealed her origin was tied to Kai himself, explaining she was created as his cultivating support, and the manager for his village, his own personal world, leaving Kai utterly baffled. Elf girl, from now on, if you bring in various things from the outside world, I would feel happy. Kai, for the time being, food would be nice. Elf girl, yummy. Kai receives a strange seed, the seed of creation, a reward for reaching level 1. The elf girl doesn't know what it will grow into, only that it must be planted outside. Curious but cautious, Kai holds onto it, unsure of what might happen if its power is revealed too soon. Sometime later, the village gained new inhabitants. Villagers appeared, resembling primitive migrants, presenting Kai with the reality of managing actual people in his developing world. Kai attempted to welcome the new villagers, only to be completely ignored. Enel cheerfully explained they couldn't perceive him because, within this world he created, Kai was essentially its god. Observing the new villagers, Kai wondered how to further increase the population. Enel thoughtfully suggested making the village itself easier and more appealing to live in. Enel stressed providing life's necessities, especially food. Taking her advice, Kai explored the outside world and discovered wild hemp, recognizing its many potential uses for fiber, food, and oil, and considering its cultivation. Actively gathering the hemp and other resources, Kai considered further diversifying the village's food sources beyond just potatoes and beans, contemplating adding river shrimp and fish to the mix. Over the following year, thanks to Enel's crucial support, Tenohira village and its people progressed rapidly. Kai proudly watched the tremendous growth. Soon, he and Rukia turned 12, the age for the formal blessing ceremony they had learned about long ago. Dressed beautifully for the upcoming blessing ceremony, Rukia eagerly sought Kai's approval. He complimented her, but privately worried her. Known fascination with insects might cause issues during the formal proceedings, potentially upsetting their father. As they waited for the ceremony, Kai checked if Rukia was okay with her blessings ability. She confirmed she could activate it reliably, though perhaps wished for something else, but Kai reassured her it was fine. In a final exchange before the ceremony began, Rukia offered playful support. Kai affirmed his intention to do well, just as a priest appeared, calling his name and summoning him to enter. Finally entering for the ceremony, Kai prepared to reveal his own holy seal, kept hidden under a special cloth for nearly 10 years. Following the priest's instruction, he removed the cloth, ready to publicly acknowledge his blessing. He revealed the holy seal upon his chest, its intricate design drawing the officiating priest's focused attention during the ceremony. The revelation of Kai's unique holy seal didn't proceed smoothly as expected. The priest reacted with visible concern and confusion, consulting texts and questioning Kai, giving him a growing sense of unease about his blessing. The ceremony took a dark turn as an ominous robed figure entered. The head priest confirmed their identity with gravity. Inquisitor, signaling dire complications arising from Kai's blessing. Confronting Kai directly, the Inquisitor looked intently at the boy's seal, uttering 2 chilling words that revealed the church's judgment of his blessing. Evil God. Reacting to the evil god accusation, Kai was immediately silenced and restrained by priests, facing grim consequences. Bound and thrown into a cell after the ceremony, Kai was then transported onto a ship, facing exile for his blessing. Confined aboard the ship, Kai despaired, questioning the unrecognized evil god label and fearing death without saying goodbye to his family. Reaching his exile destination, Kai disembarked onto a remote island, weakened but resolute, possibly alongside other outcasts. Watching the ship depart, Kai realized he was truly abandoned on the rugged island, left alone in exile. Stranded and alone on the pier, Kai faced the grim reality of his exile on the rugged island. Surveying the remote island of his exile, Kai could only react with bewildered frustration at this harsh development. Exploring the island, Kai paused on the shore, quietly observing his first beach in this new world. Standing alone on the island beach, Kai felt overwhelmed, wondering what he could possibly do in this situation. Confirming the island seemed uninhabited, Kai heard a sudden growl. Alerted to danger, he tried to assess the nearby threat. Suddenly attacked by a large beast, Kai instinctively yelled the name of his village as he was knocked backward. Kai collapses from exhaustion after a long day of hard work. Concerned, the elf girl rushes over, surprised by his condition. Grateful for her kindness, he accepts some water and rests, feeling the toll of his efforts, but also her growing care. Safe inside his village, Kai knew his blessing saved him from the beast, but the daily time limit created a problematic situation with dangers outside. Checking the sign, Kai saw the next goal was 10 people, current 4, including Anel. But with only 3 hours allowed daily before a 1-day cooldown, he knew he couldn't hide there forever. Seeking weapons for defense, Kai asked Anel. She explained the villagers lacked hunting concepts, only having stone tools besides Kai's iron hoe. Wishing he knew the situation outside, Kai learned even Anel was unaware, confined to the isolated village. He resolved to eventually face the dangers outside, win or die trying. Steeling himself, Kai took encouragement from Anel's faith in him, and his god, Alamira, despite Riley recalling that same god was branded evil. Emerging after the cooldown, Kai saw the beast was gone. Relieved but determined, he ventured out, hoe ready, to face the island. Exploring again, Kai faced a new threat. A large wild boar. Reacting defensively, he swung his hoe, likely attempting another escape to his village. The confrontation escalated as Kai was suddenly struck by immense power, realizing his opponent possessed unexpected strength. Amidst the chaos, Kai realized the source of the immense power wasn't the beast. "It's a person," he exclaimed, shocked that people actually lived on the island. Injured near a giant tree after the powerful encounter, Kai was surprised again, this time by a serious-looking horned girl. Facing the boar again, axe in hand, Kai was distracted by Rukia's sudden arrival and knocked aside by the charging beast. Watching the threat from near a tree it couldn't approach, Kai grimly guessed the temple exiled him here, hoping he'd be killed indirectly. Despite his dire situation, Kai worriedly thought of Rukia and his father, wondering if they were safe back home. Before the giant tree, Kai accepted his exile. Focusing on survival, he resolved to live on the island while holding on to hope for eventual escape. Despite his resolve, Kai eventually collapsed at the base of the giant tree, weak and shivering violently as dawn arrived. Found collapsed outside the village, Kai shivered violently, his resolve already starting to break under the harsh conditions. As Anel offered him water, The weak and ill Kai realized he urgently needed to build shelter by nightfall to survive. Enel detailed building a basic hut with available materials like wood and hemp. Despite lacking tools, using village resources made shelter possible, relieving Kai. Following Enel's instructions, Kai gathered logs, rope, kindling, and stone tools, assessing if he had enough to build a hut. Planning the hut's construction, Kai appreciated Enel's offer to easily retrieve materials, a benefit of having leveled up the village. Kai started digging, finding the ground harder than inside his village. Racing against time, he focused on creating basic sleeping quarters. Despite his condition, Kai worked diligently, using basic tools and gathered materials to construct the essential hut frame. Building his hut under the giant tree for rain cover, Kai deemed heating impossible for now, but planned gaps for light. Kai was surprised to be found by the horned girl again, recognizing her from the previous day. Kai later wondered about the horned girl, asking himself why she'd run away after their brief encounter. Working until nightfall, Kai finally completed his basic hut. Exhausted, he noted the materials repelled insects as he collapsed onto his leaf bed. Waking warm and sheltered in his newly built hut, Kai smiled contentedly as morning light filtered through the leafy roof. Waking comfortably in his hut, Kai savored the warmth as Enel greeted him from outside, asking about breakfast. Surveying the thriving village, Kai noted the plentiful food and rising culture. With Anil's help, development almost felt like easy mode. While eating, Kai considered his village's time limit. Realizing the risk, he decided establishing fields on the island itself was necessary for survival. Enel encouraged Kai's exploration, asking him to bring back anything new found on the island for analysis, hinting it would benefit them both. Two friends converse warmly. One requests a delicious meal, while the other agrees with a cheerful smile. Establishing fields outside his village for risk reduction, Kai also admitted he simply loved fieldwork, finding true joy in cultivation. Finding a pile of orange-like fruits near a tree, Kai wondered who left them there, as Enel observed him. As the horned girl approached again, Kai wondered if she was native to the island or exiled like himself. Mind made up, Kai stood before the great tree and declared his renewed resolve. "Thank you. I will live." Meeting the horned girl again, Kai initially recoiled, calling her Devil, Zerania, but her warning alerted him as a monster lunged, forcing them both to flee. After fleeing the monster, the horned girl collapsed to the ground, seemingly shaken or injured from the escape. Holding the strange fruit, Kai hesitated to eat it, recalling Enel's instruction to bring unknown items to her first. Presenting the fruit to Enel as requested, Kai heard her initial delight give way to suspicion that it might actually be poisonous. Assessing the fruit, Enel declared it bittersweet, but pretty cool, hinting at useful properties much to Kai's surprise. Trying the fruit, Kai found it surprisingly delicious. Enel noted its deep flavor, suggesting the villagers might enjoy it too. Enel called discovering the fruit lucky, while Kai questioned if it could be cultivated from what they had gathered. Enel explained the fruit now existed in the village because Kai brought it in. Crucially, time flowed much faster there when Kai was absent, making cultivation efficient. Deciding on strategy, Kai planned to leave village farming to Enel's management while he focused on establishing sustainable fields on the island itself. A few days later, Kai surveyed the fields he'd prepared outside his village, deciding it was time to plant the potato seeds. While farming his island fields, Kai noticed the horned girl watching again. Realizing she'd been leaving fruit nightly, he approached to thank her. Working on the island, Kai was startled as the aggressive wild boar reappeared, forcing another tense confrontation. An elf-like character holds food and questions someone about introducing a weapon. The banner hints at a farming village setting. Kai suggested replicating his hoe as a weapon within the village, but Enel found it difficult, reminding him the villagers lacked any concept of enemies. Enel proposed a dangerous plan. Lure the island's monsters into the village to force the peaceful inhabitants to learn violence and defense. Enel insisted they needed military power, but Kai firmly rejected forcing conflict, knowing they lacked proper weapons and training. Following Kai's rejection of her plan, Enel seemed exasperated, reminding him of something crucial he appeared to have completely forgotten. Enel presented the item Kai had forgotten, a seed of creation, explaining its fundamental importance for his village building ability. Enel enthusiastically declared it was time to plant the seed of creation, confident it would prove extremely useful. Watched by the villagers, Kai solemnly planted the seed of creation, fervently hoping its power could break their current difficult situation. As he planted the seed, Kai recalled happier times with Arukia and his father, drawing strength from the memory. While working, Kai realized he couldn't depend on his father, a high priest, for rescue, despite a lingering hope he might eventually intervene. Accepting he couldn't expect help from his father due to his position, Kai focused on relying only on himself. A dark-haired character plans preparations while leaning on a shovel. A light-haired character observes from a distance as tension fills the air in the third panel. The next day, Kai lay weak and ill inside his hut, realizing his condition had worsened despite the shelter. The comic strip depicts a character battling illness. They lie in bed, coughing and sweating, pondering their immunity as they note they can't remain in the farming village long. Lying weak and feverish, Kai grimly recognized the familiar, unpleasant bodily frailty from his sickly previous life. Despite the shelter, Kai grew colder, his illness worsening drastically and bringing the chillingly familiar feeling of death. As night fell, Kai lay desperately ill, the intense deathly cold overwhelming him completely. Near death, Kai looked up to see the horned girl had found him again. She bluntly asked if he was going to die, finding Kai still desperately ill inside his hut. The horned girl cautiously approached, seemingly offering help. Meanwhile, Rukia appeared deeply concerned, perhaps sensing her brother Kai's desperate situation or recalling their close bond. Finding comfort and warmth together, the siblings held each other close amidst the ongoing hardship. Together, Kai and Rukia safely passed the night in the hut, greeting the hopeful sunrise. Waking beside Kai, Rukia greeted him, expressing her immense relief that he had survived the night. Recovering, Kai thanked the horned girl for helping him through his feverish delirium. She then surprised him by asking if he wasn't afraid of her. The horned girl explained Kai's earlier fear, noting her non-human features resembled the depiction of devils in the local religion. Surprising the horned girl, Kai admitted he found her rather cute, not scary, though he guessed others might react differently. As the horned girl leaned closer still, Kai became flustered by the proximity, awkwardly attributing it to cultural differences. Kai asked the horned girl if others were exiled with her, but she clarified she was alone and native to the island, surprising him. Watching the villagers, Kai wondered how to increase their numbers. Enel suggested improving village living conditions to attract more people. Following Enel's advice, Kai found wild hemp outside the village, recognizing its various uses and considering its cultivation. Gathering resources, Kai happily considered adding river shrimp and fish to diversify the village's food supply beyond crops. Over the next year, thanks to Enel, the village grew tremendously. As Kai and Rukia turned 12, the time arrived for their formal blessing ceremony. A girl with horns introduces herself as Abyss Desu, while holding a boy's hand. Close-up panels show her expression, and their hands clasped. The moment appears emotional. The horned girl formally greeted Kai, calling him master and saying it was nice to meet him. Acknowledging Kai's confusion, the horned girl smiled gently, affirming, "It's fine. Kai is my master," accepting the title. Kai awoke with a yawn, ready to start another day in his developing hut and village. A light-haired character with horns warmly greets their master in the morning, hugging them tightly. The dark-haired individual responds with a sleepy, "Good morning." The scene is tender and affectionate. Waking up, Kai cheerfully reassured a concerned Rukia that he slept well, appreciating the comfort of his nice futon. Hearing Kai was comfortable, the horned girl smiled, genuinely glad he had found some peace and security. Thus began Kai's life with the horned girl, Abyss. As she helped him recover, he worried about her apparent naivety. Abyss reported to Kai that she had finished watering, addressing him respectfully as Master. Working his island fields and improving the hut, Kai reflected that having more people made tasks much easier. Checking crops, Abyss asked Kai about a sprout. He noted staple food was still just potatoes or beans, needing more variation. Abyss identified the sprout Kai was wondering about as being from the seed of creation he had planted earlier. Considering food variety, Kai desired grains like rice or corn, and also meat, joking with Enel about meat bearing fruit. Days later, the sea seed of creation sprouted and began growing rapidly within the village's accelerated time. The rapidly growing sprout from the seed of creation took on a distinct, almost creature-like appearance. Both Kai and Abyss looked shocked and dismayed, perhaps reacting to the creature from the seed of creation, or another unexpected event. Abyss offered Kai a piece of the harvested creature grown from the seed of creation, suggesting it as meat. Kai recoiled, refusing to eat it. Examining the creature grown from the seed, Kai hesitated, but decided they should try digging it out anyway, to investigate. Digging out the creature, Kai found it was much smaller than expected, only about 2 heads tall. Examining the small creature, Kai was startled when its eyes snapped open. He wondered if this being was perhaps a warrior. Suddenly active, the creature jumped from Kai's hands, looking cheerful and surprising both Kai and Abyss. Intuitively understanding the creature was a warrior from his ability, Kai instinctively commanded it to sit, and it obeyed. Observing the small warriors effectively wielding heavy iron hoes, Kai seemed impressed by their unexpected capability. Impressed by the small warriors' surprising strength and efficiency, Kai recognized them as a valuable new workforce for his village. Discussing the new warrior workforce, NL mused they should be tough, being born of the village, and perhaps suitable for exploring. When Kai suggested exploring, Abyss hesitated, worriedly reminding him it was dangerous outside. Kai acknowledged the risks. The manga panel shows two characters discussing safety and resourcefulness. One is protective, mentioning the dangers of monsters, while the other offers to hunt for food. The dialogue highlights themes of care and independence. Acknowledging Abyss's forest survival skills, Kai asked her to teach him tricks to defeat monsters, preparing to face the dangers himself. Reluctant to share her monster fighting tricks, Abyss vaguely replied, "Secret," avoiding Kai's request. Acknowledging Abyss's reluctance, Kai reassured her, mentioning his warrior creature and temporary evacuation ability as backup plans. Preparing to explore, despite Abyss's concerns, Kai acknowledged his inexperience but resolved to proceed cautiously. Setting out with his warrior creature, Kai received warnings from Abyss about poisonous plants and dark places, accepting her guidance. Exploring, Kai noted the island's plants differed greatly from his homeland, while Abyss, scouting ahead, indicated she found something. Observing Abyss, Kai noted her unusual shiny appearance. Nearby, Anel proudly presented a mushroom she had gathered during their exploration. While exploring, Kai noted the apparent lack of monsters nearby. Abyss suggested they might simply be unaware of his presence. Hearing Kai saw no monsters, Abyss suggested they were unaware of him. Enel countered they would notice because Kai looked delicious. Seeing the warrior creature bounce ahead, Kai decided it was about time they ended the exploration and headed back. As a giant snake monster attacked, Kai yelled for his village escape, while Abyss cried out a warning to her master. Watching the villagers work, Kai realized his true strength wasn't farming, but commanding and planning, the skills for nation building. Shaken after the monster encounter, Kai downplayed the incident when Anel rushed over asking worriedly if he was okay. Suddenly running off, Kai apologized to Anel, promising to return, but instantly regretted fleeing alone and worried for Abyss's safety. Returning quickly, Kai found the monster gone but couldn't see Abyss, deepening his worry for her safety after fleeing. Returning worriedly, Kai called for Abyss. She appeared, assuring him she was okay and the monster was gone. Apologizing for fleeing, Kai was reassured by Abyss, who expressed relief at his escape, emphasizing her dependence on him. Kai admitted feeling relief for Abyss's safety too, but felt pathetic for having used his escape ability to flee alone. Kai reflected that while his village offered safety, only he could enter, and he couldn't perceive the outside world while inside. Acknowledging Abyss's knowledge of avoiding monsters, Kai still worried about her safety and resolved to find other means for defense. Considering other means for defense, Kai concluded the answer lay in developing a fighting force, specifically the warrior creatures. Kai considered his next steps, strengthening the warriors, exploring, investigating monsters, and leveling the village, realizing even stone tools were useful. A giant clawed foot slammed down, sending Kai sprawling as Abyss cried out his name in alarm. Looking up from the impact, Kai saw the attacker, a massive bird-like monster, leaving him stunned disbelief. Despite the terrifying monster looming, Abyss urged Kai to run while he stood his ground, looking determined. Ignoring Abyss's cries, Kai bravely faced the giant bird monster, preparing to fight instead of fleeing. With the small warrior assisting, Kai attacked the giant bird monster head-on, managing to strike a blow. After his attack, Kai realized the monster wasn't deterred and likely wouldn't retreat, bracing for the continued fight. Assessing the giant bird monster, Kai suspected it lacked intelligence, but realized escaping a flying opponent would be difficult. Facing the giant bird monster, Kai quickly directed Abyss towards the safety of the big tree, while formulating a plan. Armed and determined, Kai stood ready with his warrior creature, accepting there was no other choice but to fight the unavoidable battle. Leading the unavoidable battle, Kai commanded his warrior creature, directing it to attack the enemy's feet with its stone axe. Following Kai's command, the small warriors swarmed the giant monster, relentlessly attacking its feet with their stone axes. The manga panel depicts a tense moment. Two characters confront a large creature. One character remains calm, offering reassurance, while the other urgently demands Abyss to flee. Danger looms as the massive creature dominates the background. Ensuring Abyss escaped towards the tree, Kai told his warrior to hold on, preparing his own village retreat. An elf-like character enjoys a roasted yam near a fire. The scene emphasizes simple pleasures. Running urgently, Kai shouted for Enel to fire, as he dumped ingredients, likely for a makeshift weapon or repellent. Kai prepared the burning implement he'd concocted, telling a curious Enel to make more, readying his makeshift weapon. Ready with his weapon, Kai cheerfully announced his plan for monster extermination, promising Enel he'd return soon. Leaping out to face the giant bird, Kai prepared for battle while Enel juggled supplies ready to assist. Facing the giant bird, Kai attacked with the burning implement he had prepared, thrusting it towards the beast. The beast lunged. Kai dodged and countered. "Enel!" he called. She launched a flaming spear. "Tenohira village," he shouted, striking with full force. However, based on the flow of the available images, particularly the most recent ones where Kai prepares for and then engages in battle with the giant bird monster, I can continue the narrations if you upload the next image in the sequence. Kai stood firm, recalling the moment he was saved. "I won't run alone again," he vowed, striking the beast with renewed resolve. This was his third stand, not just for himself, but for those who believed in him. For those preparing the fourth burning implement, Kai resolved that this attack would succeed. With his fourth burning weapon, Kai lunged towards the giant bird, aiming for its eye, causing it to recoil. As the giant bird recoiled from his attack, Kai prepared to use his escape ability again. Having successfully struck the monster, Kai celebrated the hit and praised his warrior creature for its assistance. After the battle, Kai turned to see Abyss hadn't fled, surprised she remained nearby, despite the danger. With the giant bird monster apparently subdued after the fight, Kai regrouped with Abyss and his warrior creature. The scene depicts two characters. One hesitates with regret, saying they couldn't explain, while the other firmly decides to leave, clutching a stuffed toy. Tension and urgency define the moment. After the battle, Abyss blamed herself for putting Kai in danger, but he quickly dismissed her concerns. Following the battle, Abyss worriedly pleaded for Kai not to hate her, perhaps fearing his rejection after the danger. Using her power near the great tree, Abyss focused her energy, seemingly unleashing a powerful ability. Abyss unleashed a powerful beam of energy from her hands, directing the attack towards the unseen enemy. Witnessing Abyss's power, Kai realized she was a wizard, using self-generated magic completely different from inherited blessings. Impressed, Kai exclaimed, "Abyss was a wizard." She corrected him, admitting she could use magic but wasn't technically a wizard. Vulnerable, Abyss pleaded with Kai not to hate her for what she was, asking him to stay with her. Touched by her plea, Kai sincerely reassured Abyss he would never hate her and wanted her to stay with him. Abyss then revealed her true nature. She wasn't human, but an ancient battle doll created to imitate a wizard, an immortal tool sustained by magic. Concluding her reveal, Abyss stated her true designation, Replicant Abyss. Reacting to Abyss's reveal, Kai pondered her infinite life, while she explained her body was biologically human-like. Learning Abyss was made over 1,000 years ago, but only woke up 58 years prior, Kai realized she was much older than him. Processing Abyss's reveal, Kai saw her as a remnant of the past, her replicant nature explaining her lack of need for food. Abyss hesitantly asked if he was upset. Explaining her nature, Abyss lamented that she looked like a demon and wasn't truly human. Holding her hands gently, Kai thanked Abyss for trusting him enough to reveal her secret origin. Reassuring Abyss after her reveal, Kai insisted he didn't find her creepy, sincerely calling her beautiful, much to her surprise. Grateful, Abyss saved his life. Kai vowed loyalty, seeing her companionship as a reward despite her nature, while reconsidering the master title. Abyss confessed her vulnerability to Kai, admitting she couldn't live alone and didn't know how, revealing her own dependence. Touched by Kai's reassurance, Abyss agreed to live together, recalling her earlier decision to make him her master. Kai reflected on Abyss's nature as a battle doll, realizing she lacked the capacity to truly live as she wanted, unlike his own current desire. Understanding Abyss's reasoning for calling him master, Kai listened as she apologized for not explaining properly before. Formally asking Kai, Abyss pleaded, "Please be my master. Can you accept it?" Seeking his acceptance of their relationship. Accepting Abyss's pledge, Kai reflected that perhaps his past life's values influenced his decision, feeling slightly flustered, but resolute. Kai realized his previous life's knowledge helped him accept Abyss' replicant's nature without fear, unlike how others might react. Seeing Abyss as more than an emotionless machine, Kai declared, "From today onwards, Abyss will be mine." Zrania accepting responsibility for her. Accepting Kai's offer and reaffirming him as master, Abyss knelt, declaring, "Let's live together." Standing over the defeated monster, Kai decided to harvest it as material for Tenohira village. Kai approached the defeated monster and then stood before his village signpost. After speaking with Abyss, he decided to consult Enel about a problem, also resolving to bring the monster's carcass back with him. Enel informed Kai that the monster's meat and beak could now be used as raw materials because he brought the creature back. She congratulated him, explaining that reaching milestones like multiples of 5 unlocks new features for the village. Kai observed the village signpost, which announced an update. Level 5 achieved. Culture rank explored village, and the new guests feature unlocked. The next goal required a population of 60 people. Kai seemed intrigued by the release of the guest feature. Enel explained the mechanics of the new guest feature to Kai. He could bring others into the village by holding their hand when activating his skill, but they would also be forced to leave when he exited. Excited by this, Kai decided he would bring Abyss right away. Initially relieved by Enel's assurance that the warrior was just damaged and in sleep mode, Kai then frantically corrected her, explaining it had actually reverted back into a seed. Seeing this as an opportunity, Kai resolved to explain his abilities to Abyss again. Meanwhile, Enel suggested calling Abyss for a level 5 celebration, as Kai felt somewhat apologetic or unprepared. With a look of relief, Abyss clasped her hands, glad to hear that the warrior creature would recover. Abyss expressed gratitude, while Kai asked if the warrior only changed form during battle, musing it couldn't be defeated as a seed. Abyss found it strange that the warrior was part of a blessing, adding that, according to her knowledge from 1,000 years ago, neither blessings nor God existed. Smiling, Kai explained to Abyss that his ability had been upgraded, and he was now allowed to bring other people into his village. He enthusiastically invited her to come and see it. He also confirmed that he could bring items out from the village. The excited girl grabs the boy and shouts, "Let's go!" Surprised, he asks if he can join, and she smiles, reaching out her hand. "Yes," she says. As they set off toward Tenohira village, she realizes it's his first time leaving the island. Having brought Abyss into his miniature world using his upgraded ability, Kai proudly presented it to her, declaring, "This is Tenohira village." Abyss prompted him to look. The boy excitedly asks if she's surprised, grinning wide. She freezes, sensing something strange. Magical power," she mutters, eyes wide in shock. "Master. Here." The boy looks confused, softly repeating, "Abyss?" As Enel advised that Abyss should leave the village, Abyss suddenly appeared distressed and knelt on the ground, causing Kai to react with alarm. As the elf girl speaks solemnly, "This world is yours, but it's not a living world for everyone." The boy and his friend sit beside a weakened girl, worried. "I hope she's okay," one says. "I think so too," the other replies. They cling to hope, even in a world that offers little. Kai reacted with a startled, "Whoa," as Abyss stood rigidly beside him, her eyes appearing blank. Following a sharp sound effect, she seemed to grow faint, leaning heavily against a concerned Kai for support. Concerned, Kai asked Abyss if she was okay. Abyss reassured him she was fine, merely surprised. She explained that she functions using magical power, and the near absence of ambient magic within Tenohira village had caused her adverse reaction. Abyss further clarified that she just couldn't move without magic, but reassured Kai she was fine now that she was outside the village again. Kai mused if her dependency was like needing radio waves and felt disappointed he couldn't show her more. The scene shifts to their camp under the night sky. Kai stared with wide, sparkling eyes, exclaiming, "Ah!" in sheer amazement and wonder. Staring in awe at the huge portion of cooked meat prepared from the monster, Kai clenched his fist and exclaimed with excitement, "Finally, I got a meat dish." Abyss observed calmly beside him. The boy takes a big bite of the monster meat, eyes tearing up from the intense flavor, seasoned with salt made from seawater. Overwhelming perfection, he thinks. As the others encourage him to eat more, he smiles and says, "Thanks for the food." Kai offered some of the meat to Abyss, who accepted it with a smile. As Kai took a bite himself, he closed his eyes, savoring the rich flavor, and thinking how long it had been since he last tasted meat like this. Continuing to eat with relish, Kai thought that thanks to Abyss's presence, the food tasted even more delicious. Abyss watched him with a gentle smile, thinking how happily her master was eating, and decided she would just watch. A narration box indicates a passage of time, stating that 3 months have passed since Kai first arrived on the island. The scene shows his hut by the large tree at night, smoke rising from a fire. After 3 months on the island, Abyss checked on Kai's condition while facing a large, defeated beast. Assured he was okay, she unleashed a powerful blast of energy with a determined expression. A map showed the island's layout, revealing its gourd shape and confirming the giant tree was located on the southern side. Abyss explained this geography to Kai, referencing something he had observed previously on the south side. Abyss pointed towards something, telling Kai to look, and describing it as plump emerald green. When Kai asked what kind it was, Abyss confirmed that it was the source of the bitter fruit they had found in the area previously. The scene shows a large, ancient-looking tree with thick, twisting trunks standing prominently in a clearing. Kai identified the plump green fruits as olives. Remembering he couldn't get much oil from hemp seeds, he realized these olives could be a good source, and decided they should plant them as well. Abyss seemed unfamiliar with the fruit, questioning what an olive was. Having started cultivating new crops like tangerines and bananas, both within Tenohira village and on the island itself, Kai directed one of his warrior creatures to assist with the fieldwork. The narration explained the various uses for the banana plants being cultivated. While the small bananas weren't very sweet, they were edible. The water-repellent leaves served as effective roofing material and could also be used for steaming dishes. The narration described the tangerines being grown. They had a strong sweetness and sourness, tasting very good. Kai also observed that eating them made him feel refreshed, leading him to speculate they were rich in vitamins. Kai assessed the gathered resources, disappointed he didn't find enough to plant, and wondering if the fruits were genetically improved by Abyss's creators. Abyss explained that items brought into Tenohira village become existing components, prompting Kai to consider creating an ocean environment by bringing in abundant seashells and fish. Abyss questioned Kai's reasoning for wanting to create a sea within his village. Kai explained that it would help the village's civilization develop, and added that he wants to be able to build a boat when the time comes to think about escaping the island. Abyss seemed to ponder his mention of escape. Kai considered the risks, thinking it would be impossible to reach his family if the temple was monitoring them. Despite this, he expressed his immediate wish to somehow let them know he was safe. Abyss inquired further about his plans for escape. A memory surfaced, showing Kai's adoptive father smiling warmly and expressing his simple desire just to see them, Kai and Rukia. Beside him, a young Rukia cheerfully added. However, Kai affirmed that Abyss would of course accompany him in his future endeavors. He then spoke of his sister and father, making Abyss realize that her master still had a family he cared about. Smiling warmly, Kai declared to Abyss that she was also family. Abyss reacted with surprise, repeating the word family as if processing the unexpected and touching statement. The boy finds himself tightly embraced by a beautiful, flustered girl, overwhelmed by the sudden closeness. Blushing and wide-eyed, he mutters, "A civilization from 1,000 years ago." As expected, it's too high level. Returning to their hut with Abyss, Kai announced, "I'm home." The warrior creatures outside greeted them with cheerful sounds. Over the past 3 months, Kai's village progressed to level 7, granting him 2 more seeds of creation. Planting these resulted in another warrior creature, and from the 3rd seed overall, a new type of inhabitant, a dwarf. Kai recalled past difficulties related to lacking resources like iron. He acknowledged that even if he created a sea in his village, building a ship capable of crossing the ocean for escape would take considerable time. Realizing this, he concluded that their immediate priority must be surviving the upcoming winter. Acknowledging the need for more manpower, especially to prepare for winter, Kai decided he would talk to Enel. While expressing appreciation and reliance on his current warrior creatures, he recognized that more help was certainly required for the tasks ahead. Kai approached Enel somewhat formally to ask if there was a way to get more seeds of creation, explaining his need for more manpower. After reassuring a surprised Enel that she didn't have to help if it was too difficult, he made his plea for more seeds. The elf girl, perched on a bench and nibbling on food, tells the dark-haired man, "I'm just a manager. I'm sure you know. Right now, what the village needs is livestock. I can't help it. There is that too." Undeterred, the man responds, "I'm going to go to level up on the way." As they speak, villagers are seen toiling in the fields, emphasizing the village's pressing need for resources. Enel suggested considering livestock such as cows or horses as a workforce, once more space became available. Kai, however, wished for tameable wild animals on the island, instead of just monsters. Enel pointed out that establishing domestication would require at least a breeding pair. Contemplating the island's resources and the need for more, perhaps even animals suitable for domestication, Kai considered the unexplored northern side of the island. He resolved, let's find out, deciding to investigate that region. A simple wooden building stood nearby. Kai announced his intention to explore the north side of the island that day, asking Abyss if it was okay. Assured by Abyss that the area wasn't excessively dangerous, Kai confirmed he understood, and then set out with determination. Ready to start their expedition to the north side of the island, Kai raised his arm alongside Abyss and the warriors. He announced their objective. The target is animals that are likely to become livestock. Abyss and the warriors cheered in agreement.